The Sahyadri mountain range runs parallel to the west coast of India. This is an ecological hotspot for splendid flora and fauna. Its vast biodiversity has a unique collection of mammals, birds, and amphibians, many of them being still discovered. It is here that you find the famous Kudremukh National Park. Kudremukh National Park is also the origin of many South Indian rivers, such as the Tunga, Bhadra, and the Netravati, which flow perennially, supporting plenty of nature on both banks. This river system is the source of water for millions of people in the state of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh.
One thing which is important for all these people is that the Kudremukha provides water security to all these people. Kudremukha spread over 600 square kilometers. It has got unique shola forests. What it does is the rainfall to the tune of almost 6,000 mm that it receives, it virtually absorbs through these shola forests, and during the summer also they are able to feed all the rivers and rivulets.
Like many parts of India, this forest too has a population of village communities living within it for generations. One such family living within the forest is that of Shekhara.
ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿ 77 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಈಗ 36 ವರ್ಷ.
Kollarbail is a single family settlement inside the Kudremukh National Park. The oldest member of the family, Bagi Gaudadi, she is 85 plus year old Ajji, and the youngest one is hardly 5 years old. They have not yet gone to school.
These people have lived their entire lives deprived of electricity, roads, water supply, and civic amenities.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ರೋಡ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹತ್ತು ರೋಡ್ ಉಂಟು, ಅದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಉಂಟು. ಕರೆಂಟಿನ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
There are neither hospitals for emergencies, nor shops for essential supplies, or social surroundings for emotional well-being.
ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸಾಮಾನು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ನಾವು 7 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಗ್ರಾಮಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಈಗ 85 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ತಾಪತ್ರೆ ಬಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಹೊತ್ತುಕೊಂಡೇ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸಬೇಕು. ನಮಗೆ 3 ಎಕರೆ 69 ಸೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಜಾಗ, 800 ಅಡಿಕೆ ಮರ, 60 ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ಆಧಾರ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸಾರ ನಾವು ಸಾಕ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
Tilling his small patch of land at the mercy of wild surroundings would fetch Shekhara less than 1 lakh per annum. Not enough to provide basic necessities of a comfortable life for his children.
ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಜಾಗ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗೇನೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಆಸೆ ಉಂಟು.
The daily routine of walking tens of kilometers at the mercy of the wilderness around for the smallest of needs makes life exhausting. Kerekhatte is a small village within Kudremukh National Park, whose many families have spent their entire lives struggling to cope with simple human necessities. Many of them wanted to move out, but had no means of livelihood outside. The Forest Department took up the mission to identify families and assess their needs towards the cost of providing for a secure and civilized future.
ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಜನರನ್ನು ಸ್ವಇಚ್ಛೆಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗೋವಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಪುನರ್ವಸತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದೆ 2006ನೇ ಇಸ್ವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ.
When the Forest Department reached out to Shekhara, he was surprisingly receptive. as it meant change for a better life. A change he probably welcomed, for the better chance of survival he knew existed outside the forest.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು 2 ತಿಂಗಳು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದರು ತಹಸೀಲ್ದಾರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಅಡಿಕೆ ಮರಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಜಾಗದ ಬೆಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋದರು. ಮತ್ತು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಖುಷಿ ಉಂಟು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಪರಿಹಾರ ಸಿಗ್ತಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಜಾಗ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೀಗೇನೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಜೀವನ ಸಾಗಬೇಕಂತ ಆಸೆ ಉಂಟು.
However, his mother, having lived her entire life in the forest, was initially reluctant. Their resistance to move out came from many concerns. Displacing them would mean an increase in stress that comes from disrupting the life they knew, a loss of livelihood that came from a lack of skill in any environment except within the forest, and a change of physical health and social identity that could come from living in an alien environment.
Kudremukha Rehabilitation Project, it's a unique scheme where the valuation is done for an individual applicant. It is based on Land Acquisition Act. So anybody who applies, the individual, his property is valued as per the prevailing market rates as fixed by the government. Basically, the 3 primary properties that are being valued include crops, buildings and the land. The valuation goes as high as 40 lakhs per acre, which is very competitive, where the individual can go out and start a new life comfortably.
The department gave them the time needed to understand and develop a confidence in their compensation. Over time, the patient efforts convinced all the members of Shekhara's family to welcome the suggestion and accept the better life readily provided. The department had carefully prepared an outline to assure facility and convenience on all fronts. They offered his family a substantial fund to relocate and re-establish their lives with no financial worries or lack of future needs. A social status, job profile, and fertile land were all part of a healthy package that would be provided by the resources set aside by the department. The rehabilitation scheme allows complete freedom for each family to settle anywhere they choose to, with ample compensation for them to comfortably begin a new life.
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಈಗ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Shekhara moved on to a better life, providing amply for his family. Shekhara's story is one of the many stories of successful rehabilitation that the Forest Department has carried out in Kudremukh.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ನಮಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಈಗ ಮೃಗಗಳು ತುಂಬ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕತ್ತಲಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಹೆಂಗಸರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಏನಾದರೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ತಲೆನೋವಾಯಿತು ನಮಗೆ. ಬೇಡ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ರೇಂಜರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಜಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
The effort goes deeper than symbolic development by actually providing them all the resources required to relocate, sustain and develop.
ಯಾನ್ ಬತ್ತದಡೆಗ ಆಜಿ ವರ್ಷ ಮಟ್ಟ ಅವಲಿತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ತ ಬಕ್ಕ ಜೋಕ್ಲೆ ಶಾಲೆ ಬಾಡೋಡಾಂಡು ಶಾಲೆ ಬಾಡ್ರ ಎಂಗ್ಲೆ ಬಂಗಾಂಡು ಐಕೆ ತೀರ್ತು ಬತ್ತ ಎಂಗ್ಲೆ ಮುಲ್ತು ಬತ್ತದು ಶಾಲೆ ಬಾಡ್ದ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಅಂಡು ಶಾಲೆ ಬಾಡ್ದು ಜೋಕ್ಲೆ.
This way, the Forest Department could help in poverty alleviation by giving them both social and economic development.
ಇಡೆ ಪೋಪುನನ್ವಂಟ ಬಾರಿ ಬಂಗ ಆಪೇದಿಂಡು ಏ ಪೊಲ ಇಲ್ಲಡೆ ಬತ್ತು ಹೋದು ಬತ್ತದ ಅಯ್ಯ ಎಂಕ್ಲೋರೆ ಪಡ್ದೆ ಪೋಗಪ್ಪ ನೋಡೋ ಇತ್ತ ಅಂಡ ಇಟ್ಟು ಅವು ಮತ್ತು ದಾಲ ತಿಂದ್ರಿ ಎಂಗ್ಲೆ ಖುಷಿ ಆತಲ್ಲ.
The relocation required relentless coordination by the Forest Department between various government bodies such as the Revenue and Horticulture departments and local administration to ensure processes from property valuation to relocation are quick, fair and hassle-free for each relocated family.
So far about 220 families have been rehabilitated from the Kudremukh National Park, and a total of 400 plus acres have been taken over by the Forest Department and is added to the national park. Though the actual value is around 400 acres, the effective area could be as high as 20-30 times of that, because usually the settlements are quite far away from each other and placed usually in the valleys. The approach becomes part of the settlement, and also the few acres where they actually cultivate. Apart from that, the cattle also move out all around the area. So though the actual takeover is only the cultivated area, the effective area that becomes an inviolate space for wildlife is quite large.
As more and more people let the jungle be, the more nature blossoms and thrives.
ಆ ಜಮೀನನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲಾಖೆ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ನೋಂದಣಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನಂತರ ಅಲ್ಲಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ತೋಟಗಾರಿಕಾ ಬೆಳೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ತೆರವು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಮನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇದರ ಕಟ್ಟಡಗಳನ್ನು ನೆಲಸಮ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಗೇ ಬಿಡ್ತೇವೆ.
ನಂತರ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ತನಗೆ ತಾನೇ ಯಾವ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ಅದು ಬರೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದು 8-10 ವರ್ಷ 15 ವರ್ಷದೊಳಗಡೆ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕಾಡಿದೆ ಅದೇ ಥರ ಕಾಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ.
Those areas where rehabilitation has taken place, it has become a very good grassy open blanks for the wild animals, as well as they are the areas of main water source for the animals during summer.
And it is always a win-win situation for both people and wildlife, given that the people now become part of the mainstream where they have access to resources and opportunities, social benefits in the new places where they settle down.
The primary aim of the relocation project is to provide a better life to the people by giving them mainstream opportunities that they so far lacked within the forest. The Forest Department continues to work tirelessly in facilitating the coexistence between man and nature to ensure a fair balance for both.